All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in, and excuse me for if you didn't see it. I was trying to cover the sunlight in here. Obviously, it's a sunny afternoon in South Philadelphia. Anyways, welcome in to another edition of the Hockey Note on Board Flyers pregame show. Tonight, the Flyers close out the 2024-2025 NHL season as they battle the Buffalo Sabres for the third and final time this season and close it out here tonight at KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York. And a pleasure, good evening, everybody. I'm your host, James Scorza, with you for the next 15 to 20 minutes or so for this upcoming matchup for the last time this season. We made it. We finally made it. We finally have reached the pinnacle. No, we're not talking about the Flyers making the postseason this year. Sadly, another year without no Flyers hockey in the postseason. But the good thing about it is, too, after tonight, the Flyers will be looking forward to what they have in store in the draft and also what the offseason will look like for the Orange and Black coming into next season. Is going to be something to keep a close eye on, especially what they'll look like in these next couple weeks or so, and especially what they'll look like in the next couple months or so after the NHL season comes to a close in, I think it'll be like late June, so I would be sure they would be looking to try to see what they have in store for the NHL draft and everything about that included too. So usually this is something I recapped the previous game about what happened a couple nights ago, but it was something that the Flyers, I feel like the Flyers had to do a little bit better on, but I think the other thing that was kind of expected, I guess the Flyers were trying to do whatever they can to lose games, especially to have a better draft pick. I mean, that's the most priority thing here. And especially the game coming into this game on, let's say it was Tuesday night against Columbus, and Columbus looking to try to get into the postseason. Obviously, they did not get a chance to get into the postseason. Unfortunately, last night Montreal got in as the second and final wild card, and Columbus is they were rooting for. I mean, there was a Montreal fans rooting for Columbus. I'm sorry, not rooting for Columbus, rooting for the Flyers to win. The Blue Jackets won that one 3-0. Montreal did take the game last night and also is now the 8th seed or frankly, it's the second wild card, but also known as the 8th seed. As this was a game that it was actually really a very good game for the Flyers. I thought they played I wouldn't say they played up to competition, but the thing I was really excited to see is that the young guys continue to show up and also show out in these games. The thing that was really intriguing is that even though the Flyers, even though they gave up a couple goals here and there to Columbus, they did not feel like they were out of it. I thought they played to the competition that the Flyers would want us to do. The thing that was even more positive that coming into the next season, there'll be a lot to be looking forward to, what they have in store for the next couple seasons, and so for me, the thing that I took out of this game here tonight, coming into this game here tonight, is that sure, the Flyers are not in the postseason, and it's really a sad bummer to see none on the Philly sports teams in the postseason. Obviously, you think about what happened with the Eagles, and you think about what happened, what's going on with the Phillies right now, and let alone the other team that plays in the same arena as the Flyers, which we don't want to mention because they had a horrible season too. But overall, this is more of a recap of the season than more of a previous game. So I'm going to say the most important thing that I took out of this season more than anything like that is that I tried to just I guess the big storyline in this season was I wouldn't say it was expected. So there we go. So it was something that I took into an account, and so the season had a lot of ups and downs. Obviously, John Tortorella being let go at the beginning points of the season and coming into the couple months, and also see what they had in store with the upcoming games they had on the schedule. Feel like the Flyers took a step back this year. I thought they played up to the competition at times. I thought they played okay, but sometimes just okay is not okay, and I think that's probably what the big problem was with this Flyers team all season long. Frankly, I thought they looked like they had an opportunity to make sure they could make a postseason push this year. They had their fair share of obstacles along the way. They had the injury bug. Also, the benching of Matvei Michkov here and there from John Tortorella's sake, and seeing Michkov getting benched once in a while here and there. The goaltender situation was the big problem with this Flyers team this year. I thought for sure they probably would get that straightened out probably towards the beginning parts of next year when they get ready to hopefully make a postseason push next season. It's not one of those things that we expected to happen, but towards the end of the season, I thought they played better. I thought they played a lot better than they did. For me, I thought it was a very probably good mood swing to go into the next season, what they have in store with Michkov, because Michkov's going to be a stud. I thought he was played very, very well this year. Sadly, I think he's going to lose that Rookie of the Year trophy, the Calder Trophy, to Lane Hudson, who had himself another fantastic year as a rookie. And I think that's going to go to Lane Hudson because he has more points and also has more points than basically a lot of the teams in the NHL right now, and continued to dominate in his rookie season. So Michkov might have to wait a year or two to see what he has in store against the Flyers. Other teams that, especially with the Flyers, and also what he has in store with other competition. And the last thing I'll say about this too, this is probably a good positive to move into a new season. Obviously, the next season probably could be a lot better than this one. Obviously, you think about what happened before with this Flyers team for years and years and years. Never has sniffed the postseason for quite a while now. I think the last time the Flyers had a chance to be in the postseason, and they actually were in the postseason, was around 7 years ago, around this time. The Flyers were playing, I think they were either playing Pittsburgh or they were playing a team that basically knocked them out of the playoffs in a matter of like 6 games. So, it's been a long time coming since the Flyers had a chance to play in the postseason. Sadly, it's not going to be the case here again this year. So anything that the Flyers did this season was a positive I could take out of it. The one thing I would say, though, too, is that they have to keep their heads up high, and also hopefully there'll be a lot more positivity coming into the next season, especially what they'll look like when the next season comes around, and also what they'll have in store for the next couple years around. And also this will be the time to see what Danny Briere and Keith Jones do come the offseason, and also what they do come the NHL draft. And that's exactly a few months later after, like I mentioned, the NHL season going. Basically, the NHL season is a wrap. And the last thing I'll say about this too, the young talent on this team was very, very exciting to see. I did like to see, really like that I saw with Tyson Foerster as of lately. I saw a lot of good things out of him this year. I thought he played very well. Bobby Brink had a good season. Travis Konecny struggled a little bit towards the at the end of the Four Nations race, so maybe that was fatigue. Maybe there was a little bit of a fatigueness and all that. But I think the other thing too is that this team, if depending on who they bring back and also who they bring in as the new coach and who they start to bring in as the new coach, it'll be something to keep a close eye on, especially what they'll look like in the next couple weeks or so, and also what they'll look like, not the next couple weeks or so, I'm sorry, the next couple months or so, because I keep on thinking that we got one more game out of it, but no, it closes tonight. So that's the only most important thing about it too, is that if the Flyers try to get back into a swing of things like they did at the beginning parts of last year, as they did previous season. Last year was actually a real positive to move one step forward. This year, look like they took a step back, and maybe that's going to be something to keep a close eye on, what they're going to look like in the offseason. And it'll be something to look forward to in this matchup here in this game here tonight to close out 2024-2025. All right, let's get into our key matchups. Finally, I can talk about that for the first time after the recap of the previous season. But my key matchups in this game here tonight, well, maybe this will be a game that the Flyers will try to find out what their footing is with their interim coach and Brad Shaw. The last few games they have played, I thought they played well. I thought they played very, very well to competition. Sometimes I think about when it really matters the most, they played up to the competition that they have. They're really a physical team that they had back last year. And it looks to me that they really I think they have a real good connection with Brad Shaw. That will be something that all depends on what they're going to do like I said, in the offseason, if they're going to keep him around to see what this team has in store with him, or it will be something to keep a close eye on to see what Rick Tocchet does with Vancouver. There is some coaching trees out. Uh, there's coaching vacancies everywhere in the NHL. There's a couple players that might be on my bucket list here. You think about Bruce Boudreau, probably Gerard Gallant, or maybe Gerard Gallant, excuse me. You think of maybe Jim Montgomery, probably if he doesn't go back to St. Louis, that might be another candidate to keep a close eye on. Not a lot of good candidates as the Flyers will look to keep a close eye on, but I think they want to keep something a little bit short and sweet and then try to make sure, okay, they see what they have in store with Bradshaw. Maybe they'll probably say, okay, maybe this is a guy that we can keep a close eye on. Maybe they'll keep a close eye on especially what they'll look like if all of those coaches that I mentioned, and hell, even Joe Quenneville, pardon me, was some other candidates that I talked about here and there too. So that's something to keep a close eye on too, especially what they'll look like in the next season or so. And for me, the other thing I want to see here tonight is that they probably want to see what they have in store. I mean, obviously, they don't want to win the game because it'll kind of tank them a little bit lower and lower in the NHL draft. But if you can get if you can get a very good first impression, not a very good first impression, but a very good impression on what they'll look like in the next couple of seasons or so, or especially next year, and hopefully they'll make their postseason push in 2026. This is something that the Flyers have to keep a close eye on, and also what they'll look like with other teams in general. Sure, it's going to be a long off season to see what they'll have in store with other key opponents that are like free agents and also head coaches and X, Y, and Z. So that's something to keep a close eye on, especially what they'll look like in the next couple months or so. So that's going to be something to keep a close eye on, especially in these next couple months. So as we get closer and closer to puck drop here. And the last thing I'll say about this too, if they can find a coach that fits their system and also fits what they want. I mean, Rick Tocchet's an example. Like I said, Bradshaw is an example. But it all depends on what they'll look like with Bradshaw. And right now, it's basically he's the interim coach for now. But sometimes, I mean, it depends on too. Is that if this is the guy that they'll try to basically if he's the guy that he's going to be one guy that will be, I wouldn't say on the hot seat, but somebody that will stick around because especially what they'll have in store and also what they'll look like, especially in this next few months or so along the way too. We're not going to do who's trending up and who's trending down tonight because obviously this is the last game of the season and this is my final wrap up here. So if I want to do who's trending up and trending, let me do who's trending up real quick, because since it's going to be the last time I will see you guys until next October, hopefully. So it's like the players that I mentioned, the players that have been a positive for this Flyers team. The Tyson Forsters, like I said, Matvei Michkovs, Matvei Michkov, and also other players and also key opponents in this game. So that's something to keep a close eye on to what they'll look like. The other thing I want to say too that really is the one thing I talk about in this day and age of hockey is that you look at all the teams that they have in store and also what they'll look like in the next couple of years or so. You look at what happened with a lot of coaches that basically left here and did not do a very good job. But the problem, I wouldn't say they didn't do a good job. I would say the thing about it too is that there's going to be a lot of firing of coaches. So if you want to keep a close eye on about what Bradshaw does at the end of the season, also maybe if you want to probably make him stick around for a little longer. Also, I would be sure that there will be a lot of coaching hires, and you have to step right on that if you're looking for a coach. And if you have something in the way or if you have something already planned and you say, you know what, we like what he did with this Flyers team, and they wanted him to stick around, that'll be something to keep a close eye on too. So that's something to keep a close eye on, especially when the offseason hits come June and then early July with free agency and then the draft, like I mentioned, in June. The head coaching vacancies that happens in the offseason and also what they'll look like come October of 2025. It'll be something to keep a close eye on too. Hopefully, there'll be something to be positive about coming into the next season in 25-26. All right, now speaking of, let's get into our injury report here because this is the last time I'll see you guys. Like I mentioned, only one injury to report here tonight, and I can say, and it's no question about it. It's Rasmus Ristolainen is going to miss this game here tonight once again for the Orange and Black. Still dealing with that upper body injury, and I basically said that they should shut him down the rest of the year. And they're not going to probably play him in the last game of the season when it means less than nothing. Maybe if it meant something, they'll be like, okay, maybe we'll probably keep a close eye on to see what it'll look like for games 1 and 2, or depending on the situation is. But after tonight, the Flyers will be done until next October. So we will not see Rasmus Ristolainen in this game here tonight. So that's the only injury report in this game here tonight. Because, I mean, sure, I mean it's a bummer that he got hurt, and also it's a bummer that he couldn't stay on the ice this year. Well, I wouldn't say couldn't stay on the ice, but I thought for sure he has his fair share of injuries and all that. But it'll be something interesting to see what he'll look like if he is a free agent at the end of the year. They'll probably look like without Rasmus, or probably they'll bring him back. I mean, I can understand there's a couple players from that Chuck Fletcher era are going to be on there. It's going to be a fair share of obstacles, especially because there'll be a lot more money under the salary cap, and also what they'll look like, and also can get players that they couldn't get under these three contracts that the Flyers had to sign, like the Ryan Ellis's and the Cam Atkinsons, even Rasmus Ristolainen. But I think Rasmus did very well this year. I thought he played very well. And sadly, it's going to be a real tough situation if they're going to let him go in the offseason. But also, I'll be also curious to know what they'll keep in the upcoming new season. That'll be something to keep a close eye on, especially what they'll look like in this upcoming season, next season as well. So it's something to keep a close eye on too, especially when free agency and also when the offseason hits too. All right, let's get into our starting goaltender matchup for the final time this season. So this is actually a surprise, but surprisingly enough, the Flyers are actually going to go with the third goaltender of the game tonight. So Urson and Fedotov are not in going to be the goal. I mean, it was not either Urson or Fedotov in this game tonight. So in goal tonight for the Flyers, there'll be Alexei Kolosov. And his record this season is not nothing to sneeze about here. So he has a record of, I think it says 5-8-1. That's right. 5-8-1. And has a goals against average of 3.55. And he'll be opposed by, for the Sabres, in goal tonight for the Sabres, there'll be James Reimer. And he doesn't have a similar record to Kolosov, but he has a better goals against average, which is kind of surprising, I'm going to admit. He has a record of 9-10-2 this season, and one goal. And if they win tonight, he'll be a 500 goaltender at best. And also his goals against average is pretty shocking to me, but he has a goals against average of 2.99, especially how bad the Sabres have been this year. I'm pretty surprised Reimer actually has a better goaltender rating. But then again, I don't know who the starting goaltender is. It could be Puka Luukkonen. Puka Luukkonen once in a while. And then they have like Devin Levi once in a while. Devin Levi. Yeah, that's right. So they have a lot of goaltenders, obviously. This is not the Ryan Millers of the old Sabres back in the day. And especially, this is not the same Sabres team that in the early 90s, they were like the team to beat. Obviously, you think about that team too. I mean, obviously, they're a way different team now than they ever was. But the good thing about it too is that, speaking of the Sabres, I think if the Flyers win tonight, they would take the season series of 3 games. They'll take the season series here tonight. So the Flyers, I think, won all 2 of their matchups against the Sabres, or 4 meetings against the Sabres this year. And I think tonight, they will win the season series against the Sabres in this game here tonight. So that's going to be a positive to go one step closer in this game here tonight, especially as well. So that's something to keep a close eye on too. Okay, and this for my final predictions in this game here tonight, even though it doesn't mean anything, it means less than nothing. You know how much of a homer I am. I can't lie to you. I think this will be a game that the Flyers will get a win here tonight. And sure, it was a tough season. Saw their coach let go and saw other players that were frustrated and also disgruntled. Is probably a word that would probably be coming out of it later on in the seasons and all that, especially what happened in this season. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that, look, I mean, sure, they're not there yet, but hopefully they'll be there eventually when this season calls for, and also what they'll have in store for the upcoming 2025-2026 season. That's something to keep a close eye on, especially what they'll have in store come preseason training camp and everything about that included. So that'll be something to keep a close eye on, especially what they'll look like in that upcoming 2025-2026 NHL season. All right, that is going to wrap it up here for tonight, and also that's going to wrap it up here for my portion of the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show showcase for tonight and also for this season. Before I go, I want to say thank you to everybody who were able to listen to it, and also thank you to everybody who chimed in and everything about that too. I want to say thank you to everybody to probably listening to it on YouTube or on my Facebook page, and also give me some real good positivity to watch my show. I mean, sure, I'm only on for 15 or 20 minutes or so, but if it probably lightens your mood a little bit to talk some Flyers hockey, you know, I'm a big hockey fan. But just want to say thank you to everybody, especially on the post-game shows that we did this season. Me and my buddy Joey Marks, Pat Bernard, Mitch Kovsky, Scott Churston, everybody from top to bottom. You guys have done an excellent job making this happen, and I really want to say that this was a lot of fun. Sure, the Flyers really sometimes drove me crazy, especially the times when it happened, but it was fun that I learned this experience about becoming a pregame host. Sometimes I had Austin Hamill on once in a while, so I want to thank him for coming on once in a while, talking all things Flyers here. I mean, you guys were a big part of it. I'm not trying to like leave anybody out here because you guys are a big part of my success. I want to say thank you to everybody for all the, like, if anybody was commenting on the show, either if it was a pregame or a postgame, there was a lot. I mean, I have to say right now that I actually might consider probably doing this again next year, and hopefully some positivity to come out of it, that the Flyers will actually be in the postseason by this time next season, and hopefully that I can talk about Hockey Night on Board going to the postseason for the first time in God knows how long. But like I said, guys, I want you guys to stay well. I want you guys to stay positive. And sure, I mean, it's like kind of like what Rocky would say, ain't how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. And the last thing I'll say this before we go, stay well, stay positive, and always remember, everybody, just be kind, everybody. Just be kind. It's a tough world out there, but if we can make more kindness and also make people around people that are more kinder and also make people more happier and joyous and also turn negatives into positives, that's all about it too. But that's going to wrap up my portion for this pregame show for this season. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for making this all possible. Without you guys, I would not be standing here today. I want to say thank you to Mitch Kovsky, like I mentioned, my colleague Joey Marks, Scott Churston, Austin Hamill, Pat Bernard, everybody. I mean, you guys made it all happen, and able to be talking with you guys every single night to talk about a recap of the previous game and matchups and trending up, trending down, injury reports, starting goaltender matchups, even my predictions that sometimes don't even feel like it didn't mean anything. But I'll tell you this right now, a lot of more good things are big things are happening on the rise. So please stick with us over at Hardcore Sports Network and Stream Punk Entertainment for starting tomorrow, the Eagles Fly Like an Eagles podcast. I'll be making my debut with Mitch Kovsky and Joey Marks, talking all things Birds. Coming up later on in the next month or so, we'll have the Philly Fan Legends things that me and Joey are talking about, all things Philadelphia sports icons. So please stick with us with that. And we're going to do a lot of great stuff here on this network, and I am looking forward to every single minute of it. Now for everyone behind the scenes and for everyone that made it work here, now for myself, for Joey, for Scott, for Pat, for Austin, for Mitch, for everybody else here on Hardcore Sports Network and Stream Punk Entertainment, I'm James Scorza, and this has been the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. And I want to say thank you for watching, everybody. I will hopefully see you on the other side. But until then, stay well and stay blessed.